Hey guys, Stealth here. Time for the War Room. It's been a while since my last War Room, mostly because I just didn't have that much to talk about, and I was actually waiting for a bit of a response, seeing if anyone missed the episodes. Not really, turns out. So far only one of you has responded that he was wondering where the War Rooms have gone. Well, there, pretty much. They weren't getting as many views, so I thought, well, I'd probably better spend my time on something else. But there are just some things that, I don't know, they're just not that easy to address in other videos, such as Wargame or Armored Warfare. So, here is the War Room. Now, as we're looking at this very, very large 10v10 map, gameplay of this will be up soon, coming from my perspective. If I got the schedule right, it's gonna be tomorrow, but that might be later. Anyway, I got a lot of multiplayer coming up as soon as I am done with the campaigns now. So I have done quite a few multiplayer games in the weekend, and some larger maps like these. I did a bit of Asgard. Mostly I was interested in the new maps and how they behaved. I did a very, very interesting tactical gameplay, so a low income, pretty much no income actually, gameplay on Hell is a very small place. That new, I think it's classed as a 1v1 map, but we were there with 10 players per team, that is. So yeah, lots of that coming up, and I gotta say that is one interesting video. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well, but I gotta say it's gonna be amusing to watch that. Other than that, I'm wondering what to do next, and that's where I'm also looking for your input. The campaign Bear vs. Dragon is done, and that means that I have pretty much to take on a new project. Look at this clusterfuck of vehicles, by the way. I have a new project to look for, so I'm considering going back, and I mean far back, to Wargame Airland Battle, or even further, Wargame European Escalation. That is something that you also, of course, get a vote in, so let me know what you want to see by either putting it down in the comments or upvoting one of my comments with what you would like to see. Other than that, I have been playing a few other games, I just haven't been putting footage up of them. Of course, there's Armored Warfare that I have been putting up footage of, just not that much, because as I'm going up to, or up through the trees, it is taking me more and more time to grind out new vehicles. So what I've done is today reached out to Armored Warfare and see if I can get a press account so I can show you all of the vehicles that are in the game currently. But I haven't gotten a reply yet, that might be a day, we'll see about that. And hopefully I can get you more Armored Warfare. Other games, pretty much out of sheer boredom, I decided to buy Just Cause 3. I had a lot of fun with Just Cause 2. Just Cause 3 is a sequel-ish game. It's, of course, pretty much more of the same. There's not that much innovation going on. More of a, I don't know, a sort of improved version of Just Cause 2. If you're not familiar with the game, your main character, it's a third-person, yeah, how do you describe Just Cause? I'd say a third-person open-world destroy-everything game. Not the entire terrain is destructible, but there are quite a few things that you can blow up. And you're there as a freedom fighter in the Republic of Medici, I believe, to remove the dictator. And in the meanwhile, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff, where you're pretty much a combination, I suppose you could say, of maybe Spider-Man, Batman as sense as power goes, and maybe a bit of Chuck Norris as far as gun-toting goes. So yeah, there's quite a bit of that going around. Again, it is a bit buggy, so you may want to hold off on buying that. I haven't found it to be that much of an issue, but some people have been getting some really nasty effects with constant stuttering for a game that graphically isn't that impressive. Other games, I've been doing a bit of Prison Architect, again mostly to fight off boredom, and just trying to get another game in. The thing with Prison Architect, it's... I don't know. You just build a prison. If you're not familiar with the game, you're there to design and run a prison. But what usually happens with me is that I build a prison, I get prisoners in, I modify it a little bit, and then I go, nah, yeah, okay, I'm gonna build me another prison. Because that's what the game is about. And then I don't really end up developing these huge 1,000 prisoner metropolises that you see in some other gameplay. But let me know if you want to see some footage of that. I think I put up some footage about a year ago, but that's of course already quite a long while ago. The game has changed quite a bit since then. So if you want me to put up some footage of that, let me know. Other games. Oh yeah, Kerbal Space Program, of course. Kerbal Space Program, I think for me has been the most cost-effective game ever. In the sense that I bought that game for I think 14 euros and I have, well, I think well over 700 hours into the game. So if you're going to calculate the, let's say, game time per euro or per dollar, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be really, really effective. And of course, with a very, very active community, you can install whatever mods you like. Unfortunately, it's a bit like the modding strategy that people use for Skyrim or Fallout. Mod it until it breaks. So that's what usually ends up happening. I find myself loading up mods, and currently I can run it for 15 to 20 minutes straight. After which I get some sort of crash because it probably runs out of RAM or memory errors start happening. I'm not sure what it's like, but I usually try to fix it or try to ramp up the amount of mods until it breaks. Other than that, Civ 5, Civilization 5, so not Beyond Earth, but the previous game. I simply don't have Beyond Earth. And I thought it is pretty similar to Civ 5. Of course the tech tree is different, and yeah, there's some other stuff. And again with Civ 5, it's mostly boredom. There is, I don't know, I enjoy setting up civilization and then thinking, how am I going to win this? Usually I get annoyed with a neighbor, take over his territory or a couple of his cities, do a bit of naval landings, and then I go, space race, total destruction, and I don't know, I just save the game because, you know, Civ games tend to run for very, very long. And I quit out and decide to play something else and never revisit that save game again. So yeah, mostly to kill time. Fallout 4 I haven't been playing as much as I would have been expecting. And that is mostly because I find the game too easy. Yes, I have the game on, I believe, very hard currently. Maybe even survival, but I think it's very hard. And still, I don't think it's hard enough. If I can sneak around and use my Gauss rifle with very, very high damage output, get sneak critical bonuses, and just one-shot pretty much everything, including Deathclaws, which are, if you're not familiar with the game, let's say T-Rex-sized monsters with the same sort of agility and attacks. If I can one-shot those, which are supposed to be pretty much some of the biggest and baddest creatures in the Fallout world, then the game's too easy for me. So I haven't been playing that as much as I thought. There is another game that I'm looking into, and I've also reached out to the developer of it to see if I can get a Steam press key. It is called Command Modern Air and Naval Operations. I'm not sure if game actually qualifies as a description for it. It's more of a simulator, and this simulator contains every military unit as far as air and naval goes from, I believe, 1930s or maybe 1950s onwards to present day. And it's not like, for example, Wargame. I mean, let's take this Vickers. It has an L7A3, it has range, it has accuracy. Wonderful. You don't see that in Command Modern Operations. Let's call it CMANO, which it seems to be the accepted abbreviation for it, which is CMNAO. You don't have that. You have very, very, very detailed stats. Let's say it's combining Wargame with Armored Warfare and then turning it into a 2D strategy sim. I suppose that would be an interesting description of it. It's an expensive piece of software. It's priced currently at, I believe, $80, which is still more than some of the new AAA titles. But I'm still considering getting it, because it could create some very, very interesting military situations. There's, from what I know now, about 40 scenarios that you can play, and you can set up your own scenarios as well. So let's say that you wanted to simulate a battle between, I don't know, elements of the British fleet and the US fleet back in 1982. You can do that. If you want to recreate the Falklands War, you can do that. If you want to recreate the Korean War, you can probably do that too, as far as the naval operations goes, because keep in mind, there is no ground forces. I believe there are some airports from what I've seen, some airfields, but it's not like you're moving tanks across the screen. And it's a 2D simulator. It is not 3D, such as Wargame is. So that's a bit different. But still, looking into that, let me know if you have any experience with the game. I'm very interested to see if some of you guys are maybe already playing it, and if so, what your experience is with it. Other than that, so why have I been so bored, pretty much? Why haven't I been playing all these games? Well, business this month has been very, very slow for me. I'm a body language trainer / consultant, which means that I train sales professionals, and sales professionals are not looking for training in December. In December, they are mostly looking to get their sales targets done. They're preparing next year. They're wrapping up the year. Nobody's interested in a hired gun trainer like me. So what I've been doing this month is mostly some networking. I have some appointments, but other than that, it is a really, really slow month. So yeah, that's pretty much the flip side of being an entrepreneur / freelancer, being able to do what you want, when you want. It sounds nice, but it still depends on when and where your customers are available. And currently, they're not exactly available. So that's why there's a lot of videos coming up, a lot of content. That's why I had so much time to do the campaigns, Armored Warfare videos, everything pretty much. I'm really, really hoping that that's going to change in January. Moreover, I need it to change in January, or I'm going to have a serious income problem. So hopefully in January, when all the training budgets for the big companies are back available, and when people are thinking, okay, new year, I want to have something to support me in my New Year's resolutions, that's when I'm going to come in for more trainings and workshops. But I gotta say, not having a constant stream of income, it can be really tedious. It can be really worrying, especially if, and yeah, this is going to get pretty personal, especially if you're awake at night because you have bills to pay and you may not have the funds to do it next month or the month after. It's at that level. It's really frustrating, it's tense, it's hard. It's just hard. And that's part of the life of entrepreneur, I suppose, or at least it's part of my experience being an entrepreneur. And yeah, sometimes you have a month that's doing really well. Sometimes you have a month where you get a lot of income, and then there's a month like this where you get absolutely nothing done, where you're just networking, branching out to new companies, trying to get in contact with them, and hoping that you're getting new business. But yeah, it goes up and down a bit. To pretty much fill up the periods of time when I'm not actually playing a game, or when I'm playing a game and doing something on my second screen. Been watching a new show on Netflix, Jessica Jones. You may have heard of it. It's one of the Marvel series, and it's pretty nice. It's not superhero material per se, but let's say that she is special in a way that she's extremely strong. Private investigator, bit of a dark show at times, but I think it's really interesting. Makes for nice entertainment as I'm running another game like Armored Warfare or Prison Architect or KSP, which I don't really need my full attention for, and I can just watch some other stuff. Talking about watching stuff, if there's a movie that you're looking for, you may want to look into a movie called No Escape. I recently saw that in the cinema / movie theaters, depending on where you're coming from. It's about a guy, Western engineer, Clive Owen, goes to I think, fictional Eastern Asian country. And the moment that he gets there, everything's nice and perfect, until about 20 hours later when there's a civil war going on. It's reminded me of Far Cry. It's interesting. It's like you're actually watching someone experience what it would be like to be in a sort of Far Cry situation. Except now you're not exactly in a Far Cry situation in the sense that you're a single guy or a guy with friends going on a holiday and having a good time and suddenly finding yourself in hell, but you're there with your family. You're there supposedly to work, to find a house. So this guy doesn't only have to worry about himself, but also about his 2 kids and his wife, and that leads to some very, very tense situations. It's been a real roller coaster for me to watch. So if you wanna have a look at a good movie, consider No Escape. I really enjoyed it. Other in December, what else am I really doing this month? Again, not that much. I'm looking forward to XCOM. There is some footage of it online. And XCOM 2 is going to be really, really good. I'm definitely going to be covering that on the channel, because I think that it would appeal to you guys as a strategy game, but a different sort of strategy game. It's a turn-based squad strategy game, or squad tactical game. I'm not really sure how you could classify it. It's definitely not the scope of Wargame. You're just commanding one squad instead of an entire army. But XCOM tends to be pretty damn difficult, depending on how good you are at the game and how difficult you make it for yourself. And it's going to be coming out starting February, I think. Somewhere February 3rd or 4th next year. So that is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Other than that, I might do a stream or 2 this month. I'm not sure yet. Wednesday I have a pretty quiet day, so I might do a Wargame stream Wednesday. And I know that for me the evening means the afternoon for the US, which is far from ideal. But at least you can watch another couple hours of Wargame material. So I'm probably going to be streaming Wednesday, let's say starting at 6 PM Central European Time. Streaming for a couple hours. And let's just have a good time hanging out on Wargame. If you want to join me, details on that in the description down below. Central European Time, 6 PM, means that it's going to be, I think, 12 PM. I always get this wrong. 12 PM, 12 AM? I think 12 AM is midnight. 12 PM should be midday, East Coast US. It's going to be 5 PM London time. And I'll be streaming to about 9 Central European Time, so that's 8 o'clock London, or 8 PM London, and 2 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Sorry, 3 o'clock East Coast. So, with that, I think I went through all of the issues that I wanted to talk about for this week's War Room. If you have any questions for me to answer, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm happy to help you out with more Wargame. There's definitely a lot more coming up, but if you have a specific question about a unit, let me know in the comments down below. If you have a specific game that you'd like me to cover or that you think I would be interested in, let me know in the comments down below as well, and I'll look into that. And if you have any specific things that you're looking forward to gaming-wise, I'm very, very interested to see if there's any games that I might have missed that are still going to be interesting to play. So, all of that, looking for your responses in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this week's War Room, and I'll be seeing you in another video.